Are you prepared to pay $100 for a base game? Are you prepared to pay $100 for a base game that wants to, well, charge you a bunch of microtransactions right after that? Are you prepared to basically open your wallet for the next decade, playing another Rockstar game that, while maybe engaging, is basically going to be like buying a car? I'm not sure I am, but let's talk about it on That Game Plays. Hi, friends, it's me, CC, here with That Game Place, along with a couple of other gamers that I think you're going to want to hear from, at least on this topic. And over here is Gramcast from the channel Gramcast. So good to see you, Graham. And right down here is my buddy Loki. You know him, he's part of the team here at That Game Place. But today I want to ask you, guys, even if it's an exceptional game, even if it's the greatest game, even if this is going to give you a decade of fun, a replayability, engaging characters, dialogues, and outrageous moments. Is that worth $100 base price plus microtransactions? I don't know. Initial reactions, please.
There are very few exceptions that would make this okay. I feel like GTA, Call of Duty, some of those games where the replayability is really high, if they had few and far between microtransactions for skins and things that don't affect the gameplay, I think I'd be all right with it. But anything that's going to directly affect how you play the game and make them barriers to enjoyment, I have a big problem with.
Yeah, so do I. Loki?
No microtransactions, no skins, no swimsuits, no extra DLC. You want us to spend $100 on a game? I want a complete game, no pre-order bonuses, no you got to do this or that to get it. No, none of that. No Doritos, Locos, taco codes, none of that nonsense. Just give me the whole game. Give me all the costumes I can handle. Give me all the stuff and don't charge me anything more. Sure, I'll pay $100 for that.
Okay. But let's say that you have an online component. Is it fair for that online component to do multi microtransactions?
World of Warcraft did that where when the game came out, you had to buy the game and then you also had to pay $15 a month. So I feel like that was kind of the very start of it. And honestly, I feel like Fortnite is the game that really ruined the online gaming landscape because they're the ones that really had the season pass model that had all of the microtransactions and loot boxes and everything unlocked. That's how it rose to prominence, right? After that, then you started seeing that with other games, and that's kind of been the standard. You have to choose one of which way. You either going to have an entire complete game that someone's going to have to pay up to $100 for, and keep in mind, it's not totally out of the norm to have a game that is more than 100 because you're getting the digital bonus deluxe edition or the physical deluxe edition. I don't know. You have to choose which way. Freemium plus, I don't know.
Right. Which way, Western Game Studio? Right. That's the question here. But we're going to take a look at an article from the great and powerful monster himself, Marvin Montanaro, over there at that Park Place, part of that Game Place team as well, and editor in chief over there, and kind of my boss since I'm writing over there all the time now. But if you take a look at this, the gaming industry hopes that the GTA 6 price opens the floodgates for $100 base games. Is this the end of affordable gaming? I'd say we missed affordable gaming a while ago, at least at AAA level. I think that we surpassed this, a couple games ago, right? I feel like this is like 5 years ago we started to see ridiculous stuff and deluxe editions, and as Loki described, everything in the kitchen sink in like the super special premium edition or whatever, so you didn't have to microtransaction your face off. But I felt like those were more fair because that price was up front. But at the same time, I don't know, at least as far as this headline. Do you think this is the end of affordable gaming? Loki, you first this time.
No, because as they say in Jurassic Park, we'll have a coupon day, or we'll have 50% off day, or we'll have, whatever. Do I think that they're going to try and push this? Absolutely, I do. Do I think people will pay for it? Absolutely, I do. People were paying $1,500 for a PS5 at one point just to get a hold of a PS5. They know they will pay, but it has to be good and it has to be solid. If it is not, people will not put up with it. People won't order it the next time. People will put it away. People won't do it. Gaming is a constant door, a circulating door, that a revolving door of Can we get them to buy this? Can we get them to put the money down on this? You have to bring us something good. Everybody's going, man, this game's got to be good. The online portion's got to be good, or it's not going to be doing GTA 5 numbers. And it's going to have to shoot to the moon to get where it wants to be. If it is good, people will come. If you build it, people will come. And guess what? If you build a great game that people love, they will buy it and they will spend money on it.
That's true. What do you say, Graham?
Well, I think, as I was saying, there's really two directions that gaming is going. It's either going to be the $100 game, and for some games that's fine. Not every game is good enough to warrant a $100 price tag, especially because of the lack of quality games that we've seen in the past and the lack of staying power. One problem that you'll notice about games right now is that they will be incredibly popular. They'll be streamed everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. 2 weeks later, no one is playing it. No one's talking about it. It's fallen off the streaming charts. So if I'm going to be paying 100 plus, it needs to not only be a good game, it needs the staying power. And if they're going to not go that route, it needs to be a free to play game with optional transactions. That's okay, because then I can hop in. So for instance, let's say an Apex Legends type game that's going to be a shooter. Yeah, I might come in. Maybe I want to unlock a character. I could spend $5, realize the game is not for me, and then I can just uninstall it. That's fine. What's happening is we're going to see a vacuum that is being created. So eventually some studio is going to come along and they are going to start giving people an affordable, fully thought out, fully baked game that doesn't need day one patches to be playable. And then that is going to dominate the industry.
That's true. I think that that's actually the future. If a studio wants to differentiate itself from another, they go back to the old formula. Like when the game is gold, and it's stamped and shipped, right? And we get a fully encapsulated experience that maybe has some DLC later. But for the most part, day one, it's all there, and there is no more glitches or anything else. I think that we have to get studios to go back to that model, but it seems like, according to this article, that an analyst is saying there's hope within the industry that GTA 6 could skyrocket to $100. I don't think so. I think 70, maybe 80 is the baked in price, because if they jump the shark on this, I don't know if they'll sell as many shark cards. Anyway, the idea of standard game prices jumping to $100 being floated as a possibility is thanks to the hype that's surrounding this game. Wait until, well, look, it's possible something could be released. It's still, I'm going to put it still in the category of rumor, that knocks this game down a few pegs after people get to Endgame, but we'll see. So according to Matthew Ball's State of Video Gaming in 2025 report, some in the gaming industry hope Take-Two Interactive will use the unprecedented excitement around Rockstar's GTA 6 to push the price increase. If successful, this could open the door to other publishers to follow suit, all under the guise of offsetting spiraling development costs. Here's the funny thing. Who drives the costs of development? Because it's not the customer. Maybe, but that's a greed motivation, right? So the investors out of the greed motivation, profitability. But that's not what drives the cost of these games. Inside the studios, they are doing things that aren't related to gaming. This is the biggest problem that we've been having recently. Ubisoft has been exposed to it. I mean, the most recent damage control has come out of BioWare, that they're done. I mean, I can't see BioWare recovering easily, and it doesn't sound like we're going to get a game in Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect game that they supposedly are working on. That's going to, not be great. It sounds like it's got everything baked into it that Corrine Bush would love, and she's out of there now because she cooked BioWare's goose with the Dragon Age game. I don't know, Loki, you see something different, or am I jumping ahead?
No, the studio, looking at the studio is perfect. We have brought up so much stuff about BioWare, about Ubisoft, and I want to tell you something. If Ubisoft turns around and says, we're going to sell you this basic Assassin's Creed game for $100, if you want any of the goodies, you're going to have to pay $160. Nobody's going to pay that. No one's going to pay another $60 on top of $100 to pay a Ubisoft game. Those are mid games now. These studios that think we're a number one triple A, quadruple A gaming. Remember that culture? Quadruple A gaming.
Yeah.
Guess what?
I remember
all those studios aren't They're not worth a penny, and they're
They
not
were a
coming out
decade
with
ago.
anything profitable. Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem, right? And look, all of this feeds into what's happening within these studios, right? Obviously, politicization and extra groupings of people to sensitivity read, the fun out of these games and to destroy the stories and to, make characters that are unappealing to gamers in the broadest sense. That's all true. But the teams of people required for these games aren't the size that they are now. Ubisoft has exploded to over 17,000 employees last time I checked, and they're the best example to use. That's why I use them first. And yet, do you know how many people it took to build the previous the Assassin's Creed games? Not anywhere close, and they were clicking them out at a pretty good pace. A few hundred people, thousands of people. That's a problem. The bloat within these studios is unprecedented and unfounded. I think. I don't know. What do you think, Graham?
Well, isn't that the issue that you run into when you have a lot of these studios focusing on the DE and I departments, because they're hiring individuals based on who they are, what they look like, their various orientations, and they're not hiring people because they're exceptional game developers. They're not exceptional at building games, ideating, and coming out with something that's fully baked. It's crazy to me right now that we're saying there's a vacuum that is inevitably going to be created, and the studio that's coming out on top is a studio that's just giving us a complete game that is decent. That's all we're asking for. So that just shows you the terrible state of gaming.
Well, and I mean, I look at something like Saber, right, with the Warhammer game. They just dropped that. That was a full game. Hello, here's a full game. Have fun, enjoy, right? And those are the kinds of games that I remember. I don't remember having to patch Mass Effect 3 for a little while. It needed a patch, but I don't remember patching it. Same thing with a lot of the war games, right? Like Wildlands. Like I played Ghost Recon Wildlands like a maniac. And that thing, all they did was add amazing DLC for not a whole lot of money. That was look, I can praise games when they're good. I cannot praise games when they're bad. My fear is that $100 game people are going to buy from Rockstar and it's not going to be worth it, right?
If it was a $60 game and then you start playing the $60 game, the title is exceptional. Yeah, and then you can get DLCs that you have to pay for, and then there's maybe some things you can pay for here and there. I think that's fine. $100 is too much. Give me the option if I really want, like Hogwarts Legacy, right? There's like the $200 bundle set that I ended up getting, and that was fine because I felt like this was totally worth it to have the fully completed game plus some extra physical goodies. That's all good. But when it comes to things that are like barrier to entry, barriers to enjoyment, that's the big problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Loki, I want to ask you a question based off this paragraph we're going to read here, but the true cost of gaming. This comes down to what it actually costs when you buy a game. That cost is insanity. Now, game developers saying, well, the prices are stagnant for years. Not really. They jumped $10 in 2020, and I would say they're trying to push to the $80 mark now in 2025. And they want that $100 value. The problem is they only offer a bunch of microtransactions and DLC that should have been included with the game to begin with. It's probably already likely written for the game. It's not like the development cost, is going to be there in the future. There are ongoing development costs for GTA Online. I'll give them that. They do continually add things to the game. But they've also taken stuff away, right? Things that maybe you earned or microtransactioned to, or availability is restricted. But anytime you do that, you're spending more on that game. So every microtransaction, every shark card, every skin, everything like that is amping up the price of these games. So Loki, is it fair for them to charge more upfront when they're just going to charge your pants off over the lifetime of the game?
Only if you get the full game. Only if you get the full completed game. Everything that they're going to come out with. No DLC later. None of this. Oh well, you got to wait 3 months, and we're going to come out with this. No, you give us the full complete game. And if it's good, we will gladly pay $100 because we're getting a complete game. We don't have to deal with microtransactions. We don't have to deal with monthly fees. We don't have to deal with passes, battle passes, any of that other garbage. So if you add something onto that, if you're like, okay, well, we're going to give you a statue if you pay a little bit more money. Well, I did that with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I got the statue, I got the extra stuff, and then I went in even more and got the digital because I wasn't going to get the physical game here to me the day it released. So I was like, I will go ahead and do the digital. I don't ever do that. That's not something I do. I don't double down, I don't triple down. Very rarely do I do anything like that. But if it's a quality product that I know I'm gonna sink my teeth into, I will reward a company like that. That to me, that's like, hey, you're getting money from me twice. Why? Because you're doing something exceptional and wonderful here. Keep it up. They don't deserve that money. They have to earn that money.
Well, I agree with you, and I think that that's, what should be with DLC. DLC should be another add-on adventure that's worth whatever you're paying for. If you bump this price, and this is why I highlighted this, if you bump this price to $100, that would alienate customers further because we're already gun shy of pre-purchasing anything now or pre-ordering anything now. Even those special editions, like I used to go out and get the special editions for Assassin's Creed because I wanted the Ezio statue, dang it. Or I wanted, for Batman Arkham Asylum, right? I have the Batarang up there, right? I went ahead and paid a little bit extra and did it up front so that I not only guaranteed I'd get the game, but I'd get the thing that was a cool reminder of the thing that I enjoy. The problem is we're already feeling nickel and dimed, especially with the microtransactions. So if you ramp up this thing to $100, are you going to slow down pre-sales? Well, maybe not for GTA 6 specifically, but for other games. Yeah, I mean, I will not give BioWare one extra dollar until I see a review or gameplay for Mass Effect, right?
Yep.
I'm not giving Ubisoft a extra dollar for anything now because I don't trust them. They're spending exorbitant amounts of money on obviously not the games, because I'm going to tell you right now that Skull and Bones game was not an $800 million game, right? Where did all that money go? It didn't go into the game. It went into a bunch of bologna sausage on the inside of their studios that were basically Me-too'd into doing a lot of things that weren't in their best interest. I don't know, guys. I'm just going to say this. You're going to risk the accessibility of these games to the audience because they don't have the money for it. And that's really going to shrink a player base. So is it worth it to shrink your player base and those future possible small microtransactions that you might get out of it? Or is it better, to take all of you don't want to take their bank account. You just want to take their lunch money every week, right? That's how I look at it. If I'm a game studio and I rely on profitability statements to make investors happy, I think the small microtransactions still, while we hate them to pieces and don't think there's any value in them, maybe they work. I'm going to tell you right now, the V-Bucks from Fortnite are inoffensive if I want a skin, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just happy to play with one of the base characters. I don't care that much. Right. And that's just the way gamers are. Gamers only get the things they want to get. And that's the other thing. Who's to say if you jump this price up to $100 base game that you'll ever invest another dollar in it, especially if it's not good? If the gameplay you experience in the campaign, and this is going to be something that'll be serious in GTA 6, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, but if the gameplay doesn't work, it isn't true to the originals, it doesn't work with the previous 5 or however many games you want to attribute to that, because there are some weird interims there. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I think fans will hold them accountable. What say you guys? I'm serious.
Fans will hold them accountable. You had mentioned something, Culture, that I think is worth thinking about. You'd said you are not going to pay $100 until you see some reviews, see some gameplay. I'll take it a step further. I feel like at $100 price point, a lot of people are going to go even further than that, and they're going to say, I'm not going to spend $100 until I can get the game, see the gameplay, read reviews, and wait for a handful of patches that might be months down the line. The problem with that is nowadays the attention span is so short. Like I had mentioned off the top, there's no staying power in games today. So if I'm waiting for all of those things to be true, by the time this game is actually good and I'm ready to jump in, the hype is dead, everybody's moved on, and I'll never play the game. So there's big issues. So
it's a big risk.
Give us a demo. We're going to want demos. Bring demos back. Make demos great again.
How about make gaming websites and reviewers great again? Because I'm telling you right now, I have purchased games based off of somebody I trust review, which is why I got into this with everybody on our team. I'm sure, we'll see more of you, Graham, and of course we're going to see plenty of Loki because he's part of the team. But I'm to me, it's important. I want to keep building the team. I want great minds and great conversations about great video games. And I think that the studios are going to have to go outside of the gaming urinalists that have zero credibility, like pretty much all mainstream media now, and go to people like, well, I'm going to say me or Loki more specifically. I've never seen anybody play more video games than Loki, but and obviously Graham's a hardcore, multiplayer guy. I mean, this guy knows his stuff, and if you've seen a previous video on my channel, he talks about it. But for today, I just want to say, gentlemen, let's answer this question that obviously Marvin puts in bold type here as a subtitle. The audience will decide. For this, 100%. And I think you guys have both made points along that line. It's going to be people like us or people that, are hardcore gamers that are going to decide if $100 is too much. I think. What do you guys think?
Agreed. I absolutely agree. It'll be the gamers that decide. Gamers drive the market. This entire thing with like, oh, poo poo on the gamers and the gamers are so horrible and the gamers don't know what they want. No, we know what we want. We want good games that we can enjoy, that we can kick back and lose ourselves in for anywhere between 20 to 60 hours, whatever the time frame is, however long the game is. We want to enjoy it. We want to be surprised. We want to be entertained. Are you not entertained? We want to be entertained. We do not want to be lectured at. We don't want to be schooled. We don't want to be told how horrible we are. We don't want moral life lessons of the current age. We don't want to know the tragedy of how hard it was to be a European woman in the 1500s and live that life throughout the game. If you want to play a game like that, spend your $15 on like I was a hobo villager. I'm not going to spend 90 on the new Witcher game. So that's what I think. Listen to gamers because we do know what we want and we're not afraid to say it.
There's no doubt in my mind that the new GTA title is going to be $100 because it's one of the titles that's big enough to actually command that price point. The question is going to be, after studios inevitably adopt the $100 price point, how long is that going to last until it's flop after flop? Because now seeing this, it's making me nervous that as soon as Bethesda comes out with Elder Scrolls 6, that's going to be a $120 game. All of the big major titles, they're going to keep ramping it up until it's flop after flop and nobody's buying it because the price is too high and they have to, and they're forced to adjust. So it'll be $100. I'm okay with it because GTA is one of the few that can command that price point.
Yeah. Look, I'm right along lines with both of you guys, and I have a feeling that maybe everybody's going to pay $100 for GTA 6, but I'm going to also at the same time tell you that will be kind of going back to when the video game industry crashed the first time, and it far exceeded what, as far as value that the at the time the economic conditions would support. And you ended up with a lot of studios, console makers, et cetera, having to be broken up into bits and sold off. And I don't want that to happen again. But I'm going to tell you right now, I set the prediction earlier for 2025 that we will end up with over 12 gaming studios go out of business. We've already got 4 on the way.
And I'm fine with that. Get rid of ABK. Activision Blizzard King is ruining gaming because they're a conglomerate. Get rid of them. Break them up. I'm fine with it.
Do you remember that huge Atari facility that was just empty, like a ghost town after all that happened? It was just it was nuts. They had a huge home office, all empty, nobody there, nobody working, things just left there, desks, chairs. Why? Because it happened so fast you couldn't even blink and the gaming industry was done and over.
Yeah, and if you want a little bit of information about that, it's actually in the article we were just covering. So do check that out. And before you leave here, do make sure to make a comment about any of the things that we've said here in the video, and do be sure you're subscribed or still subscribed, because that's been happening lately. And if you're not subscribed and you've seen more than one of our videos, well, please do us a favor. We would like to get over 5K in the next couple of weeks, and we'd like to get to 10K in the next couple of months. You can help us do that. We want to start streaming games live, and that'll actually help us do that and facilitate that. So as the channel gets bigger, our abilities get bigger, and we'll have more people on the team, which we absolutely need. So on that note, I want to say thank you to Graham from Grahamcast. Check him out. Say thanks to my brother Loki. Check him out over on Loki's Mornings of Mischief. And as we always say, get your game on.